Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Michaela Peters. So I was just explaining on the Russian side that I'm going on vacation this weekend and I'm going to be at a beach, so I'm probably not really going to be using my computer, so it's possible that there will be a few days without a video and people are just going to have to deal with that, and I hope it doesn't completely diminish my following like it did the one time I went to Hawaii and very explicitly said a bunch of times that I'm going to go. And I don't know what it is that, whatever. I understand there are probably a lot of weird people watching my channel sometimes, and I don't know who these people are, so I can't pretend to understand why people are randomly unsubscribing just because I said I was going on a vacation. Do you guys not think I'm a real person? I'm really confused. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, so irrelevant interlude, and I'm trying to get this done in 6 minutes because I gotta go eat breakfast, so let's see how this goes. Today I want to talk about what my job experience was like, and I might need to do a part 2 because I don't know how I'm going to get through this in 6 minutes. But, this is one of the biggest things I talk about all the time. It's like, I want to go back to Finland. Finland's my dream, all these things. Like, it still is. That has not changed. It's not like a thing I just say and then I don't mean it. Like, I do mean this. Like, I actually, fun fact, renewed my residence permit for a searching for work visa for only 6 months, because by the time I left Finland, I wanted to ensure that 6 months later I was still feeling that way, and I did. So I explicitly came back to Finland with the purpose of just renewing my residence permit, which I inevitably renewed for another 1.5 years until I was able to convert with a researcher type. So it was a process. Anyway, the biggest problem in Finland, as we all know, Finnish or not Finnish, because, I talk to a lot of people, so I have some awareness of the situation, is finding a job. Obviously, we all need money to live. That's just how life works. Unless you happen to come from an uber rich family who just lets you, how would I say this kindly, screw around all the time and not do anything with your life, because those situations exist also. I would just say it's been pretty rare that I've seen them. I have seen them quite a few times, but that's not most people, and that definitely wasn't me. So I was encouraged to work pretty much all the time, and that's, alas, we have created the monster that is the workaholic Michaela, but that is another topic for discussion. All right, so how do you even find a job in Finland? The hidden job market. This is what all of these things are going to tell you. I'm very interested in general in career stuff. Like, I've been working, I'm almost 30, so yeah. I think the cool thing about jobs, I was thinking about this morning, I'm like, morally, unlike a partner, it's really okay to look for a new one when you're kind of unhappy with the one you currently have, without needing to fully uncommit from it, right? So it's like, I could be working my current job and I could be casually looking for another job and eventually get it, give my 2 weeks, and then move on. And I think that's a cool thing about jobs. Now, I've applied for a lot of different jobs since I've had my current job, and I just really happen to like my current job, and I haven't found anything better. I was applying for government jobs because I need to work for the government at some point because I had a Bourne scholarship, but I wasn't finding anything that's paying me more. And to be fair, it's like, I do know that there are a couple other kids who I graduated with in a similar program who are making significantly more money than I'm making. Am I jealous? Probably kind of, but my point is, it's like, I'm definitely not going to go below what I'm already making. So, that's natural. You're not going to give up one position to make less money unless there was really a major reason you had to. So, I think most people are naturally going to be on the same page about understanding that just makes sense, right? Let's all be human here and understand that that's how humans work. Humans usually strive for something better than what they've already achieved, not something worse. Yes. So, finding a job, I'd go to all these job seminar things. I'd go to every one of these excursion things and listen to these companies talk. The issue is they were usually geared towards engineers, which I'm not, so it's a little bit tricky with that. But how I actually found my job was going to Slush, and I talked to a bunch of people. I told them, hey, I'm looking for a master's thesis worker position. And, like me with anything I do in life, I'm going to be pretty honest. I really wanted the thing, so I got the thing because that's just how I work. I'm like, I'm going to set an autistic level of intent upon achieving this goal until the goal is achieved. And again, I think this works with almost anything except romantic relationships, although I have read a lot of articles that do talk about how it is possible. It just requires a lot of online dating, which I have no patience for. Yeah, so anyway, trying to stay focused in 2 minutes. I went to Slush. I went to the contact forum. I went to Dooney Day, or however you say it, which is the one that we have at LUT. And I just talked to people. I add them on LinkedIn. I try to see if it's the same way you would make friends, like, is there a mutual connection here? Do we want the same thing out of this mutual relationship? And then these people are recruiters. Like, these are the people you want to be talking to, because those are the ones who help you get a job. Like, I get random messages on LinkedIn all the time, people wanting to work where I work. And I'm like, I'm not a recruiter. Like, this is not what I do. Okay. So that's why I think, like, it's really important to, like, make sure you're talking to the right people, and you just keep talking to people until you eventually find the right people. Like, is this hard to do? Yes, and it was incredibly hard for me at the beginning until I just kept doing it enough that I got used to it. It's kind of like YouTube, same thing. Like, if you look back at my very first YouTube video, I'm like, and I'm not like that anymore, because it's like, whatever, I've been doing this already for like almost a year at this point. So it's just, you have to do it. Like, if you want the thing, you have to do the thing. It's just like, that's how goal setting works. And so Dooney Day, didn't get it from there. Contact form, didn't get it from there. I think if I was like hardcore looking for a job, and the point is, I'm not saying I couldn't get a job in Finland. Like, I probably could. It would just be a lot of work, and pay range wise, and with my particular long-term goals, it does not make sense for me, right? But the biggest issue I had is that the job I did have, I did not necessarily like, and to me, it would be a huge risk to go ahead and like take on a job that I may, again, not necessarily like. So these are kind of like my phobias, if you will, around the whole situation. And, when I broke it down, I was getting paid like €7 an hour. And that's why I might put a separate video and kind of explain that. But for me, I was just very like, I want to do a master's thesis position. Then they'll do kind of the, well, what do you want it to be on? I'm like, anything you want me to do it on, because I just want to get paid. Like, this is the thing that I study. If I can provide value in any way, because your company seems to do X, Y, and Z after we just had this conversation, then, let this be mutual. And eventually I did find something in Lappeenranta, which was cool because I didn't have to move. It was not cool at the same time, because this was when I was desperate to get out of Lappeenranta, and I've talked about that already in another video, but it did happen. It's just that I felt like the work that I was doing, I'm like, it's way more financially effective for me to go work at the stupid restaurant than to have this job, even though I looked at it as, hey, on my resume, I'm going to have experience that I worked for a Finnish company for 6 months, and in the future, if and when I want to get a job in Finland, that's going to look very good. So these were all the things I considered, and it's true, like, sometimes people will take on experience that is less paying just because it's going to be good on their resume. I'm not really sure I always advocate for that. Honestly, I kind of don't. And maybe this can also turn into more of a career discussion. But anyway, I'm kind of at time, so that was a little bit about how that process went down, and just in general, my whole opinions on career searching and career accepting, if you will. And, I could talk more about that later, because obviously this is one of the things I primarily spend my time doing. And I kind of do have some aspirations of eventually being more into like leadership, which is something that people aspire to as well. And I'm sure Finnish people will have a lot of opinions about that. But look, guys, you still need managers at your companies too, so let's all think about this. All right, I'll continue this discussion later, but I have to go eat breakfast. Until next time, bye.